Computer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start some prayer and then we will get started. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for a fresh start, a new week. Thank you for the month of February. Cannot even believe this is our last full week of February. 2023 is flying by. And I am just in awe of how much this team has already accomplished, the lives that we are changing in such a short time. I pray that you're with every girl on this call. Please be with them. Any anxieties, any stress, any worries that are on their heart, let them know that they can give those to you. Help them to just take a deep breath and be able to devote this 30 minutes to self-growth and just growing in their business so that we can serve more people. Be with any family who's going through grief or loss right now, any sick babies on this call, and just please help us all have a great week. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, so let me just do a few housekeeping things and then we will get started. So guys, remember, Passport is here, okay? Do not ever count yourself out when it comes to that trip. Even if you're like, oh my gosh, this month is going so slow, I haven't even gotten a VIP or market partner. Crazy things happen. I've had girls, or I personally have had girls join me and literally, get 20, 30 VIPs in that first month, that first 2 months that they're in this business. So that amazing market partner, or that amazing runner could be right around the corner. And if you're not putting in the work now, when they jump in and start doing the business, you're not going to be passionate about it. And then their work is not even going to really count towards yours because you're not going to have the qualifications. So be talking about the trips often. And something I want to tell too is the tracker is now in our back office. So you can go to reports and then I think it's Passport 2023 and really have an updated tracker on that. Make sure you read the FAQs. We really, really, really need to get in the habit of reading the FAQs for every sale and every promo. Because I am not in the habit of that for promos, or for sales. I only read for promos. But a lot of times on sales and stuff, there's stuff that's missing that would be really easy answered questions if we just read through the FAQs. So make sure we get in the habit of doing those. And those are usually in reports, and then like it'll say February toolbox, and the FAQs are usually in there. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull up these list of questions that I'm going to ask Hannah. And Hannah, just to introduce her, she has been in this business for 3 years. She joined a little bit after I did. And she reached out to me on Facebook. We know each other from college. We were in the same group in college. And she reached out to me. I had no idea what I was doing. So she has been through literally everything in this business with me, everything I've done wrong, things I've done right. She has been there for every step of the way, and she's continued to do the do. One thing about Hannah, guys, is she was able to step back from teaching because of paying off debt with Monat. And she, in just the last couple of months, I have really seen her get into her niche and really just grow and blossom. And it's just been amazing to be on the sidelines for. So I'm so excited that she agreed to do this call. So she's going to give y'all the honest opinions of everything I'm asking her. And I hope that y'all find some benefit from this. So this is Hannah. Okay, so first question. What's your biggest piece of advice after 3 years of doing Monat?
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so after 3 years, I think just to have a clear vision and reason for doing the business, because when times get hard or life gets busy or your business is not doing exactly what you want it to be doing, that's what's going to keep you focused and going. Because I know during the times where I was really struggling, I would talk to Jordan and or Christine and they'd be like, well, what's your reason for doing this? And I'm like, well, because I want to be home with my babies. Okay, well, if that's what you want, you got to keep that at the forefront of your mind. So I would say just having that clear vision and reason, and just not letting things get in the way.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And guys, your why and your vision is going to change. throughout your journey. So Hannah's has changed, mine has changed, Christine has changed. So even if you don't accomplish what your vision is and what your why is right now, it may just simply be because that changed, right? Even this weekend, I just want to give example of Lauren when she was there this weekend. Her vision when she started this business was to pay for her kids' sports and help pay for Christmas. And then most recently, her vision was to cut off one of her days as a dental hygienist. And even though she's not going to say it out loud, her vision really is to be home 100% with her kids and do Monat. Okay. So that is going to change the more you believe in this vision. It's your job as a leader to pull that out of people, not just let them settle for what you know they want more of, if that makes sense. Okay. Number 2, how important is third-party validation to you? When did you stop leaning on your uplines for help?
Well, I'm 3 years in and I still lean on them. So, I think that kind of answers it, like whether it's just like, like needing a, like 3-way text or like confirmation on like recommendations. Like there was like a period of time where I started trying to do like my own recommendations and I'm pretty sure I screwed some people up. And it was probably about 6 months in and I was thinking, okay, I got this now. Like we've been doing 3-way messages, whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like my period between 6 and 12 months of being in the business. Those are the VIPs that either I lost or they just like rarely ever order. And I think that was because I was not utilizing my uplines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so true, guys. Like I still, even though I don't always tell you all this, I always go pretty much 100% of the time and double checking my recommendation with either Jarvis, Megan, or Christine, like almost 100% of the time. And I'm 3 years into this. Okay. So that having that second eye just to help you with that is crucial. And Hannah still will tell me on the side, like, I think this is what they need. And even if she's 100% right, she still does that 3-way message or that 3-way call to make sure that she's getting it correct. And even if she's not, even if she is getting it correct, to have that validation. Okay, number 3, how do you keep going during the slow months or times in your business?
Okay, so I read this earlier and 2 things popped up in my mind, 2 different slow times that like I perceive as slow times. And one of those are slow times where I'm not actually doing everything that I think I am. And then slow times where I legitimately am doing everything. And so sometimes like where I would like start like questioning or like saying, oh, like this isn't happening and this isn't happening. I'd go to like Jordan or Christine or both or whoever again and be like, why isn't anything happening? And like I'd be so frustrated. And they're like, well, are you posting consistently? Are you now it's 70s list? Previously it was reach outs. Like, are you doing 70s list consistently? Are you talking about this? Like, are you doing that? And then there were times where like I had to be honest and like kind of hard on myself and be like, no, I'm actually not doing that. And so in those kind of times, like where I'm like brutally honest with myself and with my uplines, then that's where you have to make that like habit shift and that mindset shift and do what you know works and consistently do that. So that was one of like the slow times. And then the other kind of slow time is like when you are doing everything. You're doing the post, you're doing the PD, you're doing your 70s list, you're asking about Spockets, you're doing all these things, but you're not seeing fruit yet. And from what like I can see, it's that's the time when like I'm planting a lot. I'm planting a lot of seeds and I'm figuring out like what works for me and what doesn't. So it's not like an unproductive time. People are still seeing that you're still reaching people, and you're planting those seeds that you can later water. So it seems slow because maybe I'm not getting as many VIPs or maybe I'm not getting as many market partners, but they're still watching and they're waiting for that time when they're just going to sprout.
Yeah. I love that. That's a really good analogy. And I totally agree with that, guys. Sometimes it has to do with what you're doing, and sometimes it has to do with just maybe a shift you need to make, right? Social media is always growing and populating, right? Some of y'all, when you started this business, where we were like core 4 and 70s list, and now we really don't do core 4. And so I like have a note in my phone to delete that training because now there's something else that's more important in social media, right? So that's the thing in our business. You have to be growing and evolving, and a lot of times if you stick with what you started on day one, you're going to hit a wall because that's no longer what is attractive on social media. But definitely the first thing to do, and I do this, is have to look back at myself. And I just did this like last week because I was like, okay, when we were an MMM team, what was I personally doing anything differently? And I was going live more often. I was utilizing Facebook. I was following up more consistently. I was doing bold reach outs versus having to wait 14 days if someone's constantly showing me curiosity. So those are things I need to go back to doing. So sometimes I think we get in this routine and then we forget some of the things that got us success in the first place. Okay, number 4, tips for being a mom of 2 with 1 on the way and working this business.
So this took a lot of adjusting. Sorry, my migraine is coming back. This took a lot of adjusting from when I was teaching full time to now. So when I was teaching, my mother-in-law watched the girls. And so what I did, per Jordan's suggestion, because I would be like, I feel like as soon as I get home, like all I'm doing is like my business. And then I'm like, I'm missing them. And then it's going to be dinner and bedtime because my kids go to bed super early. Y'all laugh at me for that. But I'm like, then I have no time with them. And so what I would do is I would spend like 30 minutes after the final bell for the day. And I would sit in my classroom and then I would sit there and I would do what I needed to do. That way, like, didn't have anything else to distract me. I would just sit there, do that, and then go get my girls. And nobody knew the difference. We got home and then I was able to focus 100% on my kids. And then now that I am at home, I work during nap time. Both of my girls still, well, I say they both nap. Hadley will at least like go in her room and have like a quiet time. And Madison will still nap, and they do this at the same time. And I did that on purpose so that I can sit down and be distraction free for 2 hours. I may not work the entire 2 hours, but I have that time to do what I need to do and then whatever else around the house. So I really try to keep it when they're down. If there's something that I don't finish while they're napping, then that's when I'll work a little bit after they go to bed, since they go to bed at like 6:30 and I have time to do that. And most of the time my husband is still doing some stuff for work because he's trying to build a business right now too. So then I'm able to do that and I don't have to worry about like missing time with them. They're not sitting there because Hadley has called me out before and she's like, Mom, get off your phone. Mom, get off your phone. And I'm like, okay, I really need to be sure that like I'm working during that time that like I've set for that and not like napping, which has been so tempting lately. And making sure I'm just getting that done so I can focus on them.
Yeah. And I think, guys, the big thing too that Hannah talked about this weekend is having a place to work. Like y'all see the background of what every story and everything on is this background because I'm in my office. Like if I'm sitting at the kitchen table, if I'm sitting at the couch, like it's not going to get done or near as good as it could. So having a designated spot in your house that is where you're going to do work or at your job or wherever that may be. And then also I told the girls this weekend, like short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. Sometimes you're going to have to wake up earlier or you're going to have to stay at work later or whatever that is to get the job done. And that's going to be in any job, not just Monat. But I think sometimes we push Monday to the wayside because we don't realize how much that extra 30 minutes or, getting up 30 minutes earlier is going to help our business in the long run, because we're only looking at one day versus looking at extra 30 minutes times 30 days a month. So sometimes you've got to make the short-term sacrifice, say, don't put your kids to bed one day, like have your husband do that, or not be able to go to a party because there's a super Saturday. Or, sometimes that's just going to happen to make your business go. And if you treat it like a job, and if you show up like a job, then your husband's going to respect you for that as well and understand that. Okay, number 5, how do you work the biz and keep your husband supportive, making time to be a wife?
Okay, so I think Ben is literally one of the most supportive husbands that like I've talked to, or like I've talked to like the wives, and he's like literally the one who's like, you need to go on that trip, you need to go do this, you need to go do that. So when I'm feeling like, no, I can't be away, he's the one who's like encouraging me to go. We have I think since we've both been in sales. Well, this would be, I guess, sales. And he was in sales, and now he's like started his own company. He understands like the time and the sacrifice that it takes. But he also sees what I'm doing, and sees the value in it. He has told me multiple times that like I just like seem a lot stronger and tougher like mentally than what I did like while we were dating, when we first got married and all that. And also I think he just sees my cup being filled. And so when he sees that, and then I'm able to focus on, like I said earlier, getting my stuff done during nap time, that leaves that time for him later on. So like after the girls have gone to bed, that leaves time for us. And then we've made it a priority to have some kind of date night, like every other week, whether that's like a home date night where we just like cook something here and like we just eat like way after the girls and like we're, doing our own thing, or we're going out somewhere. And so I don't know. I think, obviously like your marriage is something that you should prioritize anyways if you're married. But I think like when he sees that like I'm taking it seriously and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I keep him updated on everything too. Like he knew I was doing this call tonight. He knows about the next one that's coming. He's away at his small group right now, so he's not even home. So it didn't really affect him. I've told him about like our trips, like when I'm going to be out of town. So he knows well ahead of time when I'm planning on being at home. And so that was like one of the things we talked about this weekend, is like not having that like shock of, oh, well, I didn't know about this. And like, now you're going to go do that and you're not going to be here with me. And like, it just takes away that like shock of like, hey, I just need this amount of time to do this, and then I'm all yours. So just like having that communication open, and then I keep him like updated on like how my business is going for the month. And like, and he'll ask, because I ask about his, he'll be like, so like, what are you doing? Like, what's new and blah, blah, blah. And so like, I keep him updated, and then he's also more invested in it too, when he like knows the numbers and he knows what's happening and like what I'm working towards and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And something that me and Jake started doing a couple years ago is every Sunday I sit down and I talk with him about like, okay, like he already knows like Mondays are my call nights. Like I try to stack one-on-one calls like with y'all that can't do them during the day, like all of that on Mondays. So sometimes I'm up here for 3 hours, sometimes I'm up here for 2 hours. It just kind of depends. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm with him. So that's a good thing to do, is like kind of have a designated night. Like if you're someone that, like when I was a teacher, I knew I had to put in some extra work on the nights. So I would always do that on Thursdays when Christine had her, I think it was Thursdays, when Christine had her team call, I would do it, all lumped together on Thursdays. So he knew I was only upstairs on Thursdays. And like Sunday, I sat down and I'm like, okay, we have the Galentine's on Thursday. It's at Jarvis's house. It's going to be this far away, X, Y, and Z. Just really having that open line of communication. So when Thursday comes around, even though he'll probably forget that I told him that it was Thursday, at least he already knows that we talked about it on Sunday. So he can't be like, well, you didn't say that, because he knows that we talked about it. Another thing is using the invite feature on your phone calendar. So if I have an event, I'll literally invite it to him so it comes up in his calendar so he remembers that. Just really keeping them in the loop. And then when you are with them, guys, put your phone down. Okay, there's no such thing as a shampoo emergency. Don't sit on the couch on your phone while they're sitting next to you. If you're having to do that every single night, you need to time block better and you're not working your business productively. End of story. So that is what's causing fights between you and your significant other, or them getting annoyed. Then me and you, or you and your upline, need to chat about time blocking better, because this business is not made for you to be on your phone 24/7. So yeah. Okay, last question. What's one thing you wish you would have known or done sooner in your business?
I wish I would have taken PD more seriously, because I thought it was fluff for the longest time. And that's where I think I suffered the most. Was like, even when, like our team was booming and like you were MMM, I was AMM, like we were booming. I had a significantly worse mindset of like this constant, like, I'm not good enough. This isn't, you know, gonna do what I need it to do, XYZ, all of these things. When in reality, like it was, it was doing all these things, but just taking that more seriously and not just checking the list with it, and like paying attention to it. And now we have so many, I feel like we have a lot more like informative trainings now than like what we ever have before. So definitely take those seriously, take the notes, and implement what you hear. Don't just listen and be like, oh, that's a good idea, and then like toss it away. Like, do it.
Yeah, so true, guys. And I think same with me. Like, I think when things are going good, it's easy to not do personal development because you're like, I don't need to do it. Things are going great. But that's really where you really need to be diving into it, because you're on that incline, and of entrepreneurship, it's a roller coaster. So as soon as you get to the incline, there's going to be that decline, and that PD is what's going to carry you back up the next hill. So definitely making sure you're digging in PD. It's definitely something I used to throw to the wayside as well. And just like Hannah said, what I've started doing is I do PD one day, and the next day I go over the notes from the previous day and I implement at least one thing, or I go through and figure out what are ways I can put this into my business right now. And that's my PD for the following day. Okay. So instead of just listening to 5 personal developments in a week, then listen to maybe 2 or 3, and then the other 2 or 3 days implement what you listen to. So yeah. That was so good. I know you've not been feeling well, so I so appreciate you committing to this and jumping on and doing this call. That's one thing about Hannah, guys, is she is going to show up and she is going to do. And that is why she has a team now that is showing up and doing, because she is paving the way. And your team is only going to do about half of what you do. So if you are doing, if you are only doing half of what you should be doing, your team's only going to do a quarter of that. So make sure that y'all are being mindful of that. Okay, let me just look at the bar. If anyone has any questions, we have like 1 minute. Love that. Feel like you're talking to me. Go, Hannah. Good to know. Love that. How much you've grown as a person from doing money. So good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, perfect. Okay, guys. Well, if you have potentials coming on to the next call, or you just want to hop on and see how this call is going to go, we're about to jump onto that. And I am so thankful for each and every one of you. Let's kill the rest of this month. We have, what is it? I keep getting messed up because it's February. We have 8 full days left. And we have so much time left in the months. Crazy things have been happening. I know Hannah literally on the 12th had 0 PV, and now she almost has a PV bonus. So don't count yourself out. Keep doing the do, and those things will start rolling in. Make sure you're promoting the $50 off. Make sure that you are just continuing to show up, and we will chat with y'all soon. Bye, guys. Thanks, Hannah.
Bye.